Hi, everyone. Harry here to talk about another Friday night massacre of sorts, at least here involving 25 to 30 career prosecutors whose great sin was, you can guess it, working at all on the January 6th cases. All right. Now, we've gone in general from before the pardons when Trump implicitly was suggesting, and J.D. Vance and Bondi were saying, that some of these cases, the ones involving especially violence against law enforcement officers, were virtuous to this total wholesale attack, as if the entire episode and every single prosecution of January 6th marauders was some kind of complete grave injustice, is I think the word that they're using now. The grave national injustice is the entire run of all these cases, and that's what they're now committed to since the pardons. And so the latest salvo was to get rid of 30 career prosecutors in the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington. So the orders are given by the interim U.S. Attorney in Washington. He's not a presidential appointment, but he probably wants to be. He doesn't sign his name interim, but he's not the real guy. But Ed Martin Jr., the number one thing to know about him is he is a total zealot, true believer. He was both an election denialist, but even thereafter, a staunch defender of the January 6th marauders while they were in jail. He raised money. He worked to basically secure their release. Okay, he is the guy who sent around a memo, and it said, you're out of here, and it was attached to a memo from the acting deputy attorney general, Emil Beauvais, who was one of Trump's trial lawyers, who they expect to be part of the Department of Justice, the so-called principal associate deputy attorney general. That's a mouthful for saying a person who's basically the nerve center, kind of everything moves through. And here's their rationale. These 25 to 30 folks have been working on the January 6 cases. They were what's called probationary employees, which is just the status you have for 6 months to a year until your clearance and background stuff is all completed, and then you're converted. These guys were converted to permanent career status after the election, but before the inauguration. So Martin and Beauvais are taking it as a sort of special target because their idea is that the outgoing Biden administration perniciously burrowed them in, and so they couldn't be sacked. Now, the fact is, we don't know the circumstances, or at least they're not reported. There have been instances in transitions where people have been kind of given permanent status or changed around, but it's usually on a retail basis. So I have no reason to think it happened here, but it doesn't matter. They are, in fact, career now DOJ civil servants, and they have all the protections that entails, and those protections are, in fact, robust. So there's a whole so first, we can say with clearly, this move is just lawless. There's a whole series of things you have to do, and you have to document problems and go through all kinds of things. And then there's all these remedies for the employees. They are just ignoring it. It's a stunning theme generally, not just in these personnel moves, but the firing of the NLRB commissioner or the impoundment. It's not that they are relying on aggressive legal positions. They're just ignoring the law and just saying you're out of here, notwithstanding very well established law that says you just can't do that. So that's going to be a showdown. And indeed, there's already been a legal response on behalf of both some of these folks and the broader class of FBI agents who are threatened with personnel moves as a result of having touched the January 6th prosecutions in some ways. I'll talk about that in a separate YouTube about the FBI situation. But, the points here are: one, they are non-probationary employees, but they're being treated as if something sinister happened. In fact, the acting deputy attorney general wrote in a very high-handed way, "I will not tolerate subversive personnel actions by the previous administration at any U.S. attorney's office." No proof of this, but just part of the painting of the Biden administration. It's, ironic and Orwellian as having, politicized the department and setting up some kind of argument based on their having been installed as career employees in the few months before Trump takes office, but there's no law there. They are now in that category, so they're going to have a fight on their hands. They just have fights everywhere on their hands, but in a reflexive way, because these guys were recently made career, and then just because the biggest point is the grave national injustice that is anything about the January 6th prosecution. So we've moved to a totally dogmatic, crazy, upside down, bizarro position that these marauders, whom we all saw try to help Trump steal the election and defeat the peaceful transfer of power, everything about them, their prosecution was a grave national injustice. So that's the position that the new guard at DOJ is committed to. I'm pretty certain I haven't seen the last of the implications of it, but for now, and also, of course, the interim U.S. Attorney, Ed Martin, this is his total passion, and it's actually clear that under normal rules of recusal, he's got such a personal, public stake about it. He's not the one who should be making decisions. Of course, he's suggesting that, we're getting the guidance from Maine Justice Deputy Attorney General. Maybe that's how he will try to justify that. But if you're recused, you don't work on things at all. So there's 6 different ways in which this is all screwed up and nasty and petty. And the main thing is, 25 to 30 career attorneys in the D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office are now sacked, although they can fight it and they have good means to fight it, or good legal claims for the terrible sin of having worked at all, been assigned to and worked, followed orders and worked on the January 6th cases. It's, a travesty. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.